Hi there, welcome to episode 2 of Capital Combat Parley, The Comeback. I'm Lewis Hill, and this is
Garmamie Sideau.
And today we're here with a very special guest, pro MMA fighter Dan Lariviere. How are you doing today, Dan?
Good. Just had a good workout at N1 Thai Boxing on Preston with the guys, and as you can tell, it's hot in here. We're sweaty. We worked hard.
This is one of the hottest days of the summer, for sure, yeah. Now, let's dive right into it. This is your comeback. To come back, you need to be injured or be taken out of the game somehow. Tell us a little bit about your injury.
Well, it's something that's kind of just built up over the years, the knees. When I was young, I was really rough on my body. You know, you fall, oh, I'm fine, I can get right back up. Yeah. You know, and it catches up to you, though. You know, my dad told me, it's going to catch up to you. And the snowboarding, the BMX, all that stuff, it did catch up to me. I tore both my ACLs, both my meniscus. I got both of them fixed. And it's been 6 months tomorrow. So officially tomorrow I'm allowed to return to full contact. As you can see, I did go a little hard tonight, but yeah, that's the injury. It's 2 ACL surgeries. It's a really long process coming back, but I'm doing it. 33 years old, I'm doing it, and when I come back, I actually think I'll be very close to 100%, which is something that I've never really been at since I've been doing this.
So you're saying you fought with hurt knees, or a hurt knee the whole time, your whole career?
I did. The first ACL tear happened when I was an amateur, and I kind of just went with it. But I got it fixed, and it's been since then because I came back too soon.
Right.
But we got it cleaned up, and I got the meniscus fixed in it only about 3-4 months ago, and then my left ACL was done six months ago. That one I tore in my third pro fight, which was my first main event fight in Quebec City. That's where I grew up as a kid, so I was really happy to have a main event fight there. I won the fight in the second round, but I actually got briefly heel hooked in the first round by Rambo. His name's Sam de Rousseau. That tore my ACL. I didn't realize at the time that I had torn my ACL.
Adrenaline, I'm assuming.
Yeah, so I just kept going, and it roller coastered from there. I got bigger fights and things I didn't want to turn down, so I just kept fighting through it. Oh, I can still do pretty well with my torn knee.
Is that youth speaking, or is that, you know, this is my career, this is the big opportunity, I need to go now?
It's both. I had some coaches and stuff tell me that I should just get it fixed, take the time off, and now looking back at it, I do see if I had gone that way, things would be much differently, and maybe I wouldn't have lost any fights. It would have been able to train harder, but that's never been my style, so I don't have any regrets. I've always just, you know, go hard, go. I ran these knees literally until the wheels fell off, is what I did. And after that fight, I had another main event offer in my hometown here, so I didn't want to say no. Then World Series offered me a fight. Again, what if I fix my knee?
Wait a minute, didn't you pitch them for a fight? Didn't you use social media and?
I have, yes.
Yes, because isn't there a story I heard supposedly that you actively use social media to get yourself booked on World Series of fighting? Is that right? Tell us about that.
So MMA is a sport. You gotta promote yourself. If you're just coming in, and there's those guys that are just gonna quietly come in and grind, and you can take that route too. I was old. I started older. I wanted to get in big fights quickly, and I wanted to try and get the biggest fights possibly quickly. So I self-promoted. I got on Facebook and Instagram. Those I already had. Then I created a Twitter. Twitter is the one that's good for reaching out of town. You know, reaching out to those promotions you've never really met. And I like other promotions. I'm active on there. I talk with people. I answer their questions. Dan, you post all kinds of stuff. Yeah, and people are noticing. And I had sent out a message to a bunch of different people, and World Series contacted me back and said, hey, we have a fight for you in Edmonton. We want some more Canadians. Do you want to do it? I said, absolutely. So at the time, I had another fight available in Halifax. I was born there, so I do want to go back there at some point because I haven't been back since I was 2.
I'm noticing a theme here. You want to go?
Hometown fights. Hometown fights.
Yeah, Halifax. I use fighting to get opportunities. They're all experiences. So
you're at every Red Blacks game because of sponsor tickets. Is that right?
That's another thing. Yeah, and I'm not begging, but people. I train a lot of people for free, and it makes it harder to make money and whatnot. But I'm trying to give back. I've had Crew Naren and other coaches down the line even football coaches who helped me, and they were role models, and now I'm trying to do the same. In the future, I look to do something where I have Saturday or Sunday for 2 hours where people from the public, anybody can just come in and train with me.
That's wild.
But that's a whole other project. And
That's a promotion. You are a self-promotion machine, and that kind of job promotes itself, I think. You know?
Yeah, you're essentially creating an audience of followers, and they're leveraging and enabling you to get your message across, for fights and for sponsorship. Are you considering potentially managing fighters?
that's something.
Because what you're doing is you're promoting yourself, and those are, skills that could be, offered as
And you've never had a manager, is that correct?
I've had, like I used to be part of a school
Yeah.
in Gatineau, and they ran their own amateur shows, hybrid, and hybrid was perfect for me at the amateur level. Things get more tricky and complicated as
course,
time
of
goes
course.
on, and people don't agree on certain things. But that's the business, it's the politics of it. But I did have a matchmaker, and he always got me big fights. I always asked for big fights, so you never really had. I didn't really fight any cans, is what I'd like to say. But
And your fights have always been exciting and impressive too.
Yeah.
Win or lose, I mean, you're always putting on a show.
I go in there, and as long as I don't eat too much poutine, because everybody knows that on the inside, I don't have a good diet, but that's going to change.
I think
this
everyone
time
knows that on
around.
the outside too. You're a pretty public guy.
I always have great cardio in the gym, and then sometimes I get in my fights and you cut too much weight. But I always, Dan, you have great cardio. Nah, sometimes, but I have great heart, and I never give up in any fight. So you see me go in there, and I either put on some fancy submission or a TKO or something like that, or I hurt myself in the process.
Yeah.
Or the one I think you saw here at the last hybrid, that was a bloody one for me. And
That was a bloody one, yeah.
I try to do too much all at once. The self-promotion stuff, it's fun, but you also gotta be a little bit more patient. And
It's about balance. So you've always been a self-promotion machine since the beginning because you took that strategy. You wanted the big fights, and like you said, you were starting older. Because it's interesting, you see people develop into that self-promotion kind of thing when it comes to mixed martial arts, but very few people start out with that intention in mind. I think that's incredible.
yeah, once I knew I could probably go pro, that's when I knew I had to start acting like that. At the start, I didn't. I just came in and worked hard, and it was like, I want to do one fight. I can do this.
Yeah.
And I used to get in a lot of fights growing up, and I thought, oh, I'm going to come in and beat people up. No, not at all. It humbles you. I got my butt kicked for a really long time, and I still do. But yeah, I came in, and the goal was just to get a couple fights. And then you start winning, and you think, oh, I'm kind of good at this. Maybe I could do one pro fight.
Right.
Then that comes along, and you win kind of in good fashion. Okay, well, I've got that win through, and I'm thinking, well, that means I could do at least 2 more fights, because if I'm 1 and 2, that's still acceptable.
That's interesting.
I didn't really think I was going to win all these fights, and I just kept...
Why is that?
I'm hard on myself. I have a lot of the knees, really. I actually thought my knees were done, and I was never going to be able to do this for very long. Now I've gotten them fixed, and I'm re-energized. I realized, okay, you know what? I will take my time now. I'll do it right. I'll train. I'll eat properly, and let's make an actual run at this. I'm 4-4. I wish I would have fixed the knees when I was 4-2,
Right.
but I didn't. And I've been in this position before in amateur where I got hurt, came back, went on a streak, and won a belt. And that's the plan now: is to come back, actually work really hard, and go on another streak. And at 4-4, I need to win my next 2, 3, 4 fights. So. Again, still going to look for big fights, but if I train really hard with good knees, I'm going to be really hard to stop in the cage.
Now, to get you warmed up for that, you were competing at the Sub-X grappling tournament.
Yes.
And you're not in the tournament, you were just in one match, right? Correct?
Yeah.
And tell us about that match and what it's like to come back from the injury and with a jiu-jitsu match.
Yeah. Well, one, a lot of fighters, not myself, I train all the time, but I knew if I set something, I would force myself, like on these hot days, to
Yes.
come in here because I'm out of shape and to get back into shape. So I'm going to be doing a match. It's 10 minutes long, so I got to get my cardio up.
That's some cardio. That's some. Yeah.
The knees, it's still awkward right now, but by the time I think that comes, still about under 2 months away, I think I'll be what I consider in good enough shape to compete.
Yeah.
Am I going in there at 100%? No, absolutely not. But I'm going against a guy I know.
Yeah.
Daryl. He's Daryl Hartley. He's a purple belt. I fought him in amateur. he became my teammate after that, and people come and go, and I know he's a respectful guy.
He's a very nice guy. I
Yeah.
train with him now. He's a super nice guy, super strong.
He's very strong.
How did your fight go when you fought him?
We had a really close fight, and I won a unanimous decision back then. But even back then, I knew hit him with a jab and stay away. Because Daryl's really strong.
He's a beast,
He'll grind, he'll get on top of you, and he might get on top and grind me for 10 minutes, and I might not be able to move. Who knows? Anything can happen. But it's exciting because it's just a form of competition, and it's against somebody I know, and it just gives training with your buddies here in the gym is fun. But when you're going against someone you haven't trained for a while and you don't know what their game plan is, it kind of sets you up better for competition. So I thought, why not just do a nice little grappling match? I know the person, we'll do that, and then I can book my next pro fight.
It's interesting because it's risky, and that's what I like about fighters is that, you know, there's nothing more truthful than putting yourself in competition against someone where you don't know what they're going to do. There's nothing more honest. There's nothing, you're bearing yourself to the world in a way that nobody else can. And I totally respect that.
On that point, what's driving your motivation to get back into competition? I mean, you talk about your knee issues, right? And how old are you?
33.
33. You're at an interesting point, you know, in terms of you know, your athletic profile and stuff. You've had many experiences, the amateur and the professional level. What's driving you back to compete?
Now all the time off.
All the time off.
Yeah, so before I was doing too much and I wasn't enjoying being here. My last month when I left...
when you say doing too much, you mean doing too much?
So the last month, like my last fight was a World Series. It's on NBC, was last June. But all in 1 month, I did that. 3 weeks prior to that, I fought here at Hybrid in town. And just 3 days before that, I landed here from Vegas because I was doing the Ultimate Fighter tryouts. And I know now that's way too much in 4 weeks. I fought twice. I went to Vegas.
Even emotionally, draining wise.
Yeah, but I was winning, and I was rolling the dice and still winning. And I thought, well, let's keep rolling the dice.
Right.
Imagine I would have came back 6-2. It would have been phenomenal.
And
but
on the Ultimate Fighter.
I didn't do that. I'm not the type of person to put his head in the hole and run away. I'm 4-4. I lost 2 fights in a row. I've bounced back before, and now that I've had all this time off. Man, I can't wait to get back in and feel that grind and that drive. Whereas before it was like, oh man, another day in the gym. I got to do it. I got to be here. But now I can't wait to be here. I can't wait to be able to drill again. And you kind of, that time off makes you realize how much you do miss here. And it's not just the training, it's the drives in with the boys. I can drive in here, but we carpool as a team. And we come in here, the chatter. I used to play football back in the days, and the best part of it was the road trips on the bus and in the locker room. The same stuff is here with your teammates. And you guys just saw Matt Long leave, and it took 10 minutes for him to leave because we chat, we have a good time, and it's one of the parts I like the most about doing MMA is you meet a lot of people.
This is a very good gym to train at as well. I should mention we're at the N1 Thai Boxing Academy, a place I've trained for years, a place Dan has trained, a place even Garmamie has trained, and it's a fantastic gym with a fantastic coach and owner, and thanks for letting us do this, Naring.
Ladies and gentlemen, people who live in the Ottawa-Gatineau region, August 19th, Friday, August 19th, at the Sala San Marco over here on Preston, Heroes Combat League is putting on a show, and you better be there if you want to support your local mixed martial arts.
We'll be there. We'll be commentating on the show,
right.
doing the color commentating, and that's as sexy as it gets as far as I'm concerned.
And we might even fight.
Well, I'm not fighting this guy.
I'm not fighting anyone. We're there to watch and support, and we hope you come out and make sure you check their website, heroescombatleague.com. Follow them on Facebook, Twitter, so on and so forth. Thank you very much. When did you start training, and give us kind of a quick overview of what style you started with first and where you've been?
Yeah, I've been all over now. It's been 6 years. 6 years ago, I tore my knee playing football. I was playing semi-pro in Syracuse. I tore my knee. One of my friends lent me the Ultimate Fighter season. I thought, oh my God, I got to do this. And
so you had never heard of the UFC prior to that?
And I had gotten a lot of scraps growing up. And people were like, oh, you should be doing this MMA stuff. And I really didn't think I could because I would grapple around with some of my bigger friends and everything hurt. My shoulders, this, that, all from the extreme sports. And I just started doing it anyways. After watching that, I had to. I thought, I have to try this. So I just did the grappling tournaments. And people, a lot of, I got to get in shape to do the grappling tournament. No, just do it for the
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
I started doing no-gi grappling tournaments, but they were just small ones, and then nothing important, but I was winning them, and I thought, at the time, it's so much, right? I've got this 4-foot Team Bushido trophy, and they start...
I got one of those, too.
Yeah.
I got 2 of those. Who am I kidding?
And they start piling up, and you love them.
Yeah.
Now you don't know what to do with them. They're so big.
No, they're still in my office. I
Yeah.
won't lie to you.
So it started that way, and yeah, a lot of people, I got to get in shape for this tournament. No, just do them. I was on Google. Oh, there's one in Kingston. There's one in Belleville. There's one in Montreal. I was doing all of them. I think I did 15 in a year.
Yeah.
And then after that, I did the amateur MMA. I did 15 amateur fights, about, give or take.
In a span of how many years?
2, maybe
Wow.
3. I've always been very active.
Holy smokes, yeah.
Although a lot of guys will go pro, and it's just, let's take a fight and wait 8 months, take a fight. And it is the smart thing to do if you're young.
Right.
But when I started pro 10 days before my 30th birthday,
Yeah.
and I was just in a rush. I was like, all right, get me every fight you can, get me big fights, main event fights.
Father Time will do that to everybody.
And I didn't think that I was going to be able to fight after I fixed my knees. So I was just trying to, oh, you have a main event for me? Good, I'll do it.
Yeah.
Because that might be the only time I ever fight in a main event.
Wow.
Now, who knows? Maybe I'll never fight in a main event again. Or maybe my knees are healthy, I win 5 fights in a row, and I'm fighting on main events again all the time. You really don't know. The sport really is a what have you done today type of thing.
Of course, yes.
And for me, because of all the social media we were talking about, I've been gone for 14 months, and everyone still remembers who I am. And I'm still getting all kinds of fight offers. And hey, when's your knee better? Can you fight next week? No, it's not good enough yet.
Wow.
Can you fight in 4 weeks? Different provinces. It's all still there for me. So
Do you think other fighters should take that model, or is that for everyone that? Because I see other fighters doing it. Elias Theodoro is a great example of self-promotion.
I kind of copied him.
Yeah, Conor McGregor is another great example. But at the end of the day, promoting fighters, they get fights and they make money. Whereas other people who say, I'm just here to fight, it is a business. And do you think they're missing out on 50% of it? Or
They are, but it's a lot of work too.
yes.
I mean, if you could have someone do it for you, and I've
Yes.
had people, why don't I do this for you? And in my sake, it's because, well, then I got to rely on you to do it. And a lot of people want to do things for you, and you don't really know if how hard they're actually trying in the background, and so for me, I've always just done everything myself. And
Well, I think for someone to come in and promote at the level of which you're promoting yourself, I mean, you're starting up here right away. You know what I mean? You promote like nobody else I've seen. It's fantastic. I remember me and Dan did a video for, Dan helped me out. I did a sports bag review video, ended up putting it on the underground. It got 78,000 hits in 2 days. It was ridiculous.
that was a lot of fun too.
That was a lot of
and that
fun.
was in my torn knee, and I didn't know if I could throw that big guy. Was his name Chad?
Chad,
He was
yeah.
like 200 pounds.
He's a big dude, yeah. Yeah.
Can you toss him over your hip? And, well, we're gonna see.
You did,
And
yeah.
we
There was
did.
no camera tricks involved in that. He
No,
really did.
we only. I said I'll do it once, maybe twice, and
Yeah.
he just sold his body for it, and it worked out.
He
So
did. He was a good sport.
How important, just to follow up on his question, in terms of for fighters, obviously they have to have the grappling skill, the striking skill, the cardio, so on and so forth. The ability to promote oneself on a scale of 0 to 10, what would you rank self-promotion as in terms of a skill that every fighter should have?
it's not a skill you need to have at all, to be honest.
You don't need to have a
Absolutely not.
to
But
promote.
If I didn't do what I did, I wouldn't have been where I am today. There
Wait,
are
you-
some
you're-
guys who are just so naturally athletically gifted that they
Right.
can just come in and train and do what they're going to do. Everyone else is going to promote for them. Not everybody needs to do that. Well, in my case, I mean, it's changed everything for me. It's the social media and the promoting and self-promoting. I was getting at some guys are 10-0 and everyone's going to promote them and they don't really need to do that stuff. For me, I wanted to do it because, yes, now I've been off a year, but I am still relevant and available and everyone remembers who I am.
In terms of opening other doors as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're going to
So
be
I have a
announced.
lot of ideas in my head, and one
Sure.
of them was managing fighters. Another
Right.
one is commentating.
Right.
There's all kinds of things I want to do. What my goal was is just while I'm still fighting and people are still watching, network as much as I can, be as friendly as I can, meet as many people as I can, so that when I'm done fighting, hopefully I can do something like manage fighters or commentate or something in the MMA world that not only I'm contributing to, but I'd like to make a buck doing it as well too, because it's tough. We don't make very much money right now, and we're trying to. One of the good things about self-promotion is tickets. If I tell them I can sell 200 tickets, which is sometimes the case, well, now they want to put me as their co-main event.
It's a business, for sure.
And there's a lot of guys that are really good that don't sell any tickets, and I hear their promoters and other shows like, oh, we're not going to ask him to come again.
I think you mentioned something about being friendly and so on. It seems to me, from what I've heard about you, is that you're generally a nice guy, right? You're not,
He's a genuine nice guy.
Yeah.
I will. Yes.
Yeah. So what? And as far as like any other community, be it an artistic community or business, you name it, there's always a lot of competition and there's always a lot of politics. How do you navigate that water of the politics of, believe it or not, martial arts in the Ottawa-Gatineau region?
You stay as friendly as you can, and you try not to step on anybody's toes, but it's hard because there's a lot of gyms in the school that do get along, and there's a lot of gyms that don't get along, and everyone wants to run their own MMA show or their own school. And students, I find for the most part, the fighters themselves, we just want to train. I don't care what school you're from. You want to come train, let's train. But there's certain areas, you can't go in and train. There's some schools that don't like other schools, and there are some shows that don't get along with other shows. But for the most part, I try and stay friendly with everybody, with all parties, not offend anybody. And I guess the best thing to do is just pump everybody's tires.
I think, that's definitely the most professional thing you can do, is to remain apolitical and not get caught up in people's BS, right?
And I think that brings us to an interesting story I want to talk about. I believe it was your last fight at World Series of Fighting. You ended up, for whatever reason, without a corner, right? And you ended up, I'll tell you my side of the story. I was sitting with my girlfriend on the couch. I was injured at the time, so I wasn't training. And I saw on Facebook you had offered to fly someone out west to corner you. And my girlfriend told me I should go, and to be honest, I was thinking about it for a second, and then I saw the post. Nick Castiglia ended up offering to corner you.
He did, yeah.
Now tell me how, because Nick Castiglia is from another school, but this is an example of, people say schools don't get along, but one fighter to another sees a fighter without a corner, and goes out and corners you on your World Series fight.
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
I think that comes directly to me being nice to everybody.
Yeah.
Nick was always at I guess we consider a rival school, even though I've never fought anyone from Ottawa Academy, but I kept in good terms with everybody, Nick especially, and he saw that I needed it, and he just jumped on the phone, and I guess Pat runs the school there, said, hey, can we go down there and corner Dan? He's at last minute, has no corner, and they on their own dime came up, and
That's incredible.
Yeah, it really is. I have to thank the school for that, and I feel bad because a lot was going on at that time, and that was the end of the whole coming back from Vegas and the
Right.
bloody war I was in at Hybrid a few weeks before. I didn't perform very well. Well, here I'll say, first time I've ever cut 18 pounds in 16 hours.
That's a lot of pounds. That's a few pounds.
It was I had to get escorted away, and it's not very professional of me, but I was there alone, and it was rough trying to cut weight because I couldn't train. I had gotten opened up prior to the other fight, so I was just trying to run on the treadmill all the time. It's not fun. When you're in here sparring all the time, you don't realize how much weight you're losing. But when you're running on a treadmill and that's all you can do, it sucks. So I didn't perform well out there, but Nick was a great corner. And you can hear him if you watch the fight, just screaming, Dan this, Dan left underhook, Dan. So they did really well. And I thank them for that. I haven't fought since. In the future, right now, Crew Nairn is always going to be in my corner. I do pads very well with Crew, and we're on the same page for everything. N1 Thai boxing. I don't know going forward what I'm going to do for grappling, because I'm going to fight professionally in the next 2 months, maybe 3 months, 4 months. I'm going to need a ground coach, and there's so many options out there. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do.
Do them all. Yeah, go to a bunch of different ones. It's interesting. What was it like emotionally to know you're going out to fight potentially without a corner? Like what's that doing to your head before a fight?
I just ate a lot of food.
Food became love at that point. Is that right?
Emotional eating.
Emotional
It's
eating.
exactly what it is. It's the worst thing you do because
Yeah. Well, you paid for it later with the
I
cutting
did,
weight.
yeah, I did.
Well, do you feel a need to erase that one off your record? Like you ended on a bad note, you feel the need to come back, regardless of how anything goes, but to do better than that fight?
Oh yes, absolutely. And the best part is I'm not exhausted. I'm not drained. I want to come in and put in the work. I can't wait to come in and put in the work.
Nice.
And the reps and everything like that. But I was just at a point where I was worn out. I was exhausted. And I wanted to keep going though because I was on this wave. I was riding it. It was fun. I got to tell you that.
Yeah.
And even though I lost, I don't have any regrets because it's quite an experience out there. There's no other show I've ever been on where, you know, they pick you up, valet driver, and then when you get out of the car, the camera's watching you, brings you in.
Yeah.
When I got stitched up here, I had to go to the Montfort Hospital and wait for 16 hours to get 8 and 7 stitches on my face. When I got stitched up after World Series, me and my opponent, he had to get 5 stitches, I had to get 8, and we're both sitting there literally right after the show. The doc's there freezing you, giving you stitches, and then 10 minutes later you're back in the crowd socializing. So that was really cool as well. And my sister Carrie came out as well, and you know, I didn't know this, but oh, your sister needs a ride to the mall, we'll take her to West Edmonton Mall, stuff like that. Little perks you're not used to. I'd never been to Edmonton, I'd never been to the mall, I went to the gun range, I'd never shot guns, so it's all stuff through fighting that I'm getting life experiences. So I don't have any regrets about what happened there, but going forward, yes, let's win now and do everything the right way.
Speaking of comebacks, on Thursday, August 18th, Rec MMA, that's right, Rec MMA is making a comeback, and they're putting on a show at the Hilton Garmamie. Make sure you go to the show and support professional MMA in the Ottawa-Gatineau region.
Hell yeah, we'll be there.
We'll be there.
Heck yeah. Speaking of Rec MMA, Dan, you wanted to fight on Rec MMA, is that correct?
Oh yeah, it's every time people talk about fights in the region, they talk about the casino. I've always wanted to fight at the casino.
You've never fought at the casino?
I have never fought at the casino.
In all your
and
fights,
I need to,
never...
again, I was telling you, I fought in my hometown in Quebec City. I want to do Halifax. I got bucket list items I want to reach out. One of them is fighting at the casino. Obviously, I met Nick through him cornering me at World Series, so I would love to fight on that show. They had found me an opponent, but again, it's on the 18th. It's way too soon. That's 10 days after I get my knee cleared to return to action. So hopefully I can get on their January show. In the meantime, Hybrid Combat is in October. I am kind of talking with them as well, see if there is a fight available there. Also knee pending.
Yeah.
And then going from there, we have a couple other promotions I am in the talks with. Most seriously would be with Unified MMA in Edmonton. Between you and I'd like to fight Nasty Nybacken. He's the guy that I beat at World Series. That guy's put on 4 wins in a row, mostly stoppages, and he's the new title holder over there at 155. So I'd really like that fight with him.
No, I believe you posted that on Twitter. Is that correct?
I did. It got a lot of hits.
Got a lot of hits.
They know I want that fight. It's a good comeback fight for me, and it's a good chance for him to avenge his loss. If I was him, I would be exactly who I would want to fight. I've won 4 in a row. I'm now the champ. Let's go back and avenge that loss.
Right.
You mentioned family support. What does your family think about you being involved in another extreme sport? Because you've done extreme sports before, and now you're in a combat sport. How do they feel about that?
Oh, my dad said if ever I get hurt badly, he's just going to send me away. That was a joke that we always had, an inside joke. But no, Mom, I remember when I first did amateur fights. I remember my mom. She said, "I don't know if I can watch this." And my first win, this big guy I'm fighting, he just looks so much bigger than me. He gets on top of me, he starts hammer fisting me in the face. I said, how was Mom during that fight? To my sister, and she goes, she was looking away. And then all of a sudden everyone was cheering because the fight was over. And people don't understand jiu-jitsu. Yeah. He was punching me lots, but I got him in an arm bar, and it's just like that, 5 seconds after the fight was over. Yeah. And she's like, I didn't know why people were cheering. I didn't know he won. She got used to it. I won a lot in amateur. I went on a big streak. I won an amateur belt, and they got used to it. Now I'm fighting pro, and I have so much support from my family. Dad, we need to sell a lot of tickets. My dad alone sell 50, 60 tickets, 70 tickets.
I know people who work for the city of Ottawa who have bought tickets from your dad.
Yeah.
At one point. Yeah,
he's got the same name as me, Dan Lariviere. So I learned a lot from him, and they were already texting me, hey, how do we listen to this podcast? So
Well, we're not going live.
It'll
I'm
be
going to
tomorrow.
edit this. Yeah.
That's fine.
I gotta put that filter on my face to make myself look
but-
younger, you know?
I'm one of the lucky ones. I have had my family come to almost all of my fights.
Wow.
And I don't just mean my mom and my dad and my sister, but I mean both grandparents, both sets of them, aunts, uncles. My aunt and my uncle, they sponsor me. And I'm like, guys, I don't need, no, put BKR on your shorts, bring Kelsey Racing. We know we're sponsoring our nephew, and
who is that now? Who is it?
yeah, it's my uncle Brent. He races cars right now at Mohawk International Speedway, just across the.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, he was just racing there, so I got to get out there and watch some of his races.
BKR Racing?
Yeah, Brent Kelsey Racing.
BKR Racing. Check it out.
Should sponsor them. But yeah, and I actually remember that little story when I was fighting for World Series. I was in my hotel room, and he was the only one I didn't get stitched on my shorts. And he was like, what are you doing? We're going to warm up in about 20 minutes. I was like, I got to finish stitching these on before we get to the show because I got to have BKR
You're a
on
good
there,
nephew. You're a good nephew.
Yeah.
But you give back too. Like your family supports you, and you could tell that's rubbed off on you. Like earlier, talking about giving back to the community, training people for free. You know, pay the man to train people. Don't ask him for free stuff. But if he offers, take it. But you know, I think it's rubbed off on you. The apple doesn't fall too far from the tree, or something like that. Yeah.
Hey, I was wondering. You mentioned before you have an awkward grappling style or something like that. Elaborate on that and give us an overview of your fighting style for people who haven't seen you fight. I'm sure everyone has because you're a self-promoting machine. But elaborate on when you say before you mentioned you had an awkward grappling style.
I don't want to tell you about my awkward grappling because then everyone's gonna know.
No, but give us an example situationally. What do you mean? Like if you're cross body, like what? Give us.
Can I give you an example? Because I have grappled Dan, and he's just very creative.
Okay.
You know, there's things you do, there's things you learn. If you're in this position, there's 2 or 3 ways to get out of it, and you make them your own. Dan will try and invent things and get out of things in ways that you're not supposed to be able to get out of them that way. He's very creative. He took my back from north-south. That still bothers me to this day. And as a matter of fact, we grappled again 5 seconds later. I said, let's do that again. He did the exact same fucking thing.
I have very flexible limbs.
Okay.
I also get out of awkward positions. But
what submissions do you like working in particular? Is there particular, like the arm bar? What?
I like using the triangle. It's the one I have the most wins with.
From guard.
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay.
That's something you get from everywhere, but I got to be honest, it's been really hard to work the triangle with 2 torn knees. You lock it up on someone. I've actually had a triangle on every single opponent I think I've lost to.
Wow.
Or at least not everyone, but almost all of them, and I couldn't finish them because it's too much torque on my knee once they start posturing up. I'm hoping that problem's gone now and I can reinvent my triangle and actually really go at people with it. But to get the triangle, you have to be in usually on your back or that position. So if I've gotten there, then I'll go for the triangle, but it's not where I want to be in fights anymore. I used to like going on my back too much. You start getting hit and
Elbowed.
the elbows, yes. And sometimes I don't mind getting hit, and I'm like, yeah, whatever. You're hitting me with your elbow. I'm just gonna. But then the elbow, only 2 later, it splits your forehead open, and man, I open up easily.
I've seen you bleed.
It's a little joke we have here in the gym, but.
Do you ever go for leg locks, seeing that you have like this theme with your knees? Do you work on heel hooks, knee bars, straight Achilles? Is that something?
I used to. So main reason to have my knee surgery was so I can do all these things again. I was fighting professionally and I wasn't wrestling anymore. I haven't trained wrestling in 2 years, and I hadn't trained any leg stuff. I just completely stopped. If I get taken down, I get taken down. I have good jiu-jitsu. I'll fight from my back. Leg locks, I know all the defenses and whatnot, so I can get out of them. But I feel if I'm gonna go for a leg lock, then that makes the other guy think of leg locks. He might go for a leg lock. So I have been avoiding that game for 2 years, and no one really knew. And I mean, now if you want to attack my legs, it's good. My legs already at 6 months, I'm able to do more now than I have in the past 2-3 years. And it's scary because it makes me want to come back in right away and do
Right.
stuff at 100%. But no, it's still
Take your time this
Yeah.
time. Do it right. Yeah.
we're gonna do it right, and then that way I can come back at 100%. And
You have a nickname, Daniel San, right?
yep.
What's the story behind that? Because
He's never seen the Karate Kid.
No, I have,
You probably
of course.
saw the Will Smith version.
no,
of the Karate Kid.
I've seen it.
Kung Fu
Come on,
Kid.
man, I've seen it. But what's are you? Why is that your nickname?
It's good marketing.
Is it?
I
Really?
had when one of the radio shows when I fought for World Series. I remember there's how could you predict against a guy named Daniel San? That's the best nickname ever. And most people from my age, 30s all the way up to 80s, they all remember. Oh, Daniel San, the Karate Kid movie.
Absolutely.
So already I make fans that don't know who I am because they like my nickname.
True.
And I
But
couldn't
have
come
you
up
trained karate?
none, no whatsoever.
Well, maybe in your comeback you can cross.
Daniel
You could
San-
crane kick
You know
your
what I mean?
opponent.
Well, we have,
Go down to Brazil and train with
one of
Lyoto
my-
Machida.
One of my main things is I am extremely flexible. I throw my teep a little bit different than everybody, and it catches people awkwardly, and they all hate it. The Dan special kick. I just call it crane kick 2.0.
There you go.
Did you? Is that what you call it? Like, is it brand? Did you brand this thing? Is there a
I guess
hashtag? Is there
I just branded it now.
right
Yeah.
now? There you go. Nice.
Kick
But
2.0.
you touched on the promotion, and it's important. A nickname is important. People remember that nickname. I had some people that just wanted to buy my T-shirt because it
Absolutely.
said Daniel San.
Yeah.
And, oh, Dan, you like Keep Calm. And people started buying me Keep Calm stuff because my shirt said Keep Calm. No, I purposely made my T-shirts Keep Calm and Focus Daniel San because at the time, everyone was buying Keep Calm everything.
Yes.
My sponsor at the time made me 300 T-shirts. I sold them all in 3 weeks for $30 each because they wanted 1, Keep Calm shirts, or 2, Daniel San shirts, or 3, they knew MMA and wanted to support me.
Right.
Stuff like that's important. So I have a new shirt I'm going to be making.
Awesome.
It's going to be just as clever. And
Can you give any spoilers, or is this top secret? What's the?
damn, Daniel San is back.
Yeah.
People
I like it.
are going to buy that.
I'll buy it. Yeah,
All right.
I'll buy a shirt.
So you have quite the reach online, you know, with your followers, so on and so forth. But there's one video in particular that has gone, obviously went viral a couple of years ago, whatever. Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, the self-KO video.
Yeah, give
I
us.
still get tagged on a weekly basis.
But this is free advertisement. You know what I mean? Are you leveraging off of that? Is that like something you could use in a storyline?
I should.
Oh, you mean you're not?
I mean, the idea is there. I mean, if I wanted to be on The Ultimate Fighter, I have that storyline, and I do want to use it. Hey, I knocked myself out. I didn't quit. I came back from an injury. I had a pinched nerve. That's how I actually knocked myself out. I came back, rematched the same guy, Jeremy Capone. He's I think he had like a 10-1 record. So he was a tough guy. Again, no easy fights. Let's fight the same guy again.
Yeah.
We went to a decision, and after that, I won I think 6 fights in a row, almost all submissions, and a provincial tournament where I've had to fight twice in one night. And I just wanted to work really hard and just don't quit. But that storyline, I feel like, will be something The Ultimate Fighter, they look for characters on that TV
course.
show. I'm not an idiot. I know I'm not going to win my way into the UFC, but I might promote myself enough to get on that TV show. And once you get on that TV show, anything happens.
Yeah.
And who doesn't want a guy who, knocked himself out? That's a story people are going to talk about.
Now tell us that you threw a kick and you slipped. Is that accurate? And you fell on your back?
Yeah, so it's one of we were talking about my creative combinations.
Yes, absolutely.
It's a flying switch kick, and I used to land that all the time. But when I tore the knee, I couldn't do it the same anymore. And I had fought the previous 5 days before that fight for a title fight here in Gatineau, and then I fought 5 days later at that show, and I was again drained.
Right.
But another fight, let's take it. And I was tired in the fight. I'm gonna admit, I was really, really tired. And it was a close fight going back and forth, and I was trying to do something that could end the fight because I knew I was tired. And I went for that kick because it landed all people all the time, and I just totally missed. He backed up, and I just totally missed. And I had a pinched nerve in my neck, and when I slammed on the ground, my shoulder hit the mat so hard that I just completely passed out.
Now it's interesting because that video has gone hugely viral. I believe BJ
Yeah.
Penn UFC.com has posted it. And if you read the comments kind of disgust me. There's a lot of trolls on there.
They're hilarious.
Listen, you trolls, saying this guy threw the fight or any of this horse
Well,
shit.
they're saying that.
All the things they're saying. Yeah, that this guy was paid
I had
off.
Mortal Kombat jokes. I had people saying he moved countries and changed his name, that his mom didn't want to be his mom anymore. I had.
Well, that's true with me. It may not be true with you.
It was very
yeah.
funny, and at the time, it bugged me so much. And if I had not,
did you consider not fighting again, or?
No, I just kind of quietly. I didn't realize at the time how big it was going to become.
Right.
I didn't tell anybody. I just came home and I told whoever, what happened in your fight, because people asked.
Yeah.
And well, yeah, no, I know. I hit my head and I knocked myself out. How else can you say that? And at the time, I just kind of hibernated in my apartment. And when I came back to the gym, it was funny too, because some of the guys would be like, "Oh, hey Dan, check out this video. Have you seen this video? This guy knocking himself out, and it's me." They didn't even know.
They didn't know it was you.
They had no idea. Wow. So I had to deal with all that stuff when I came back. But if you know me well, I will never quit. And I could have quit and done something else, and I would have never fought professionally. I would have never gone to Edmonton, Quebec City, fought main events. I would have never done any of that stuff.
This comeback of yours feels like it's your third, fourth, or fifth comeback. You've had a lot of comebacks from a lot of different things.
In my mind, I've had one. It was when I knocked myself out, and then I came back amateur.
Yeah.
Won 6 fights in a row, won a belt. And that's why I'm comfortable talking about self-KO, because, hey,
whatever.
Even my opponent, he's like, "Oh, stop making fun of this guy. He's really, really good." And I respect him. We're friends now. He trains out of Montreal. He's gone pro as well. He's a good fighter, but it was discouraging. Now I'm okay talking about it because I did so well afterwards.
It's tough to see yourself on video doing badly. I've seen myself in other people's grappling highlight reels getting choked out. It's not fun, and it certainly didn't go viral, but it does mess with your head. On a viral level, it has to. But the way you took it, a negative situation, and went on a win streak, used it for motivation. It's incredible, man.
Yeah. So and that's what this is to me. This is my second comeback to me. And in my eyes, we're just going to do the same thing we did in amateur. We've been here before. We made a mistake. We may not have been training as hard as we should have. And then when we did, I was unstoppable. And that's the plan now, is to get in here, focus 100%, train all the time with healthy knees. And now we never know. I could lose 2 fights in a row, but that's not the mentality I'm going with. And I don't actually think that's going to happen.
And you have any sponsors you want to thank? Any people?
As for sponsors, again, my uncle, BK Racing, my family, they have all supported me. Yeah. I want to thank Crew Naren for putting his time in with me. And I'll single out Steph LaMarche. He's always, picking me up. We carpool here. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas morning. If you need a training partner, that guy's at your door ready to smash you in the face. So he's always pushed me. He's also probably the training partner that I've been with since day one, 6 years. King Empire Entertainment is a record label company. They promote artists. You should look them up. They're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
Again, I will make their website appear on the screen. There we go.
Yeah, King Empire, and they've helped me a lot. And they've been nothing but support. So a big thank you for them.
Good for King Empire.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Good to hear. And, sponsors, if anyone wants to sponsor the CCP podcast, we also want you to sponsor this podcast.
You better sponsor us, damn it.
And if anyone wants to be a guest on this podcast, what a coincidence. We also want you on this podcast. You know where to find us. We're on social media. I look forward to watching your comeback grappling matches, Sub-X. You got tickets? Are you selling us tickets?
I do have tickets.
Yeah. We will buy some tickets off you. We appreciate that. And everybody else, check out Dan Lariviere versus Daryl Hartley at Sub-X, September 24th. It's going to be
at Père Arthur Guertin, where I actually used to fight.
That's right.
In my amateur fights. So
I've seen Dan fight there a lot.
It's doing a full circle.
For the 2 people out there in the universe who don't follow Dan on Twitter or on Facebook or on Instagram, I'm going to make all his stats come up with my mind on screen right now. Hang on. It's just that Jedi mind trick. It's just that easy, folks. Daniel, thank you so much for this interview. I really appreciate you coming on, man.
Thank you very much, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.